All right, let's just get the quickest, miniest advice that'll pop out. First, this popped out. It says, your funny anecdotes will bring happiness to others. So some of you are silent, scared to use your voice, purposeful mutism, something like that, feeling like your voice, your thoughts, your ideas won't be welcomed in spaces. Some of you feel as though your attitude is too blunt, too harsh, too direct. And it's kind of like, just because the world is at a point where, how do I want to word this? Where politeness seems mandatory, or like censoring yourself seems like the only way to go because truth hurts so much. But there is like a faction of people, a bigger amount, a bigger number, like the people who appreciate direct honesty and laughing at other people. Like, people watching is one of my favorite things to do. I will grind somebody up physically, but I'm not going to say it to their face. That's where I differ from other people. I'm like the most judgmental, non-judgmental person. So I feel like that's you. You just got to find your people. And it's not that you're mean or you're an evil person. It's just kind of like, this is the way you share your views. Some of you could want to be a comedian. All right. We have take a shot. Don't take 12, take 1. Okay, maybe 2. Move on. So yeah, it's like, take a shot of courage. Do something that is a trigger for goodness. Like, do you go in the supermarket and then that triggers you to want to cook? Maybe you watch Chopped and that triggers you to make you want to eat. So like, the shot would trigger the courage to activate the voice, So it's like, do something that puts you in the direction of courage. What else do we have? Oh, 2 cards. Do I want them? Do I want them both? Do I want them both? Yes. We have, I'm writing a new story. Yeah, you're not this person that's quiet and counting themselves out. And I saw the vision of like, the gym teacher is like, okay, we're playing, guys, but we only have enough jump ropes for 6 kids, so somebody has to sit out. And because you were someone who was usually picked last or like left out, you purposefully volunteered to sit out, to not try, to not experience. But it's like, the person you were then and the person you are now is no longer the same, all right? Because you are writing this new story. You deserve to show up. You deserve to get a chance to take the shot, because this is your life, Don't be a background character in anybody else's story. And we also have, I allow myself to, this is a new setup, guys, so I'm still getting used to it. I allow myself to simply experience this without judgment. Okay. Yeah, you're not judging yourself for what you say and what you might say wrong and how somebody might get offended or, uh, respond to your intention or to your execution of words. Also giving me the impression where it's like, experiencing this without judgment is like, okay, maybe you got picked last. Maybe you didn't get picked at all. Maybe no one's in the stands to witness your life, but that doesn't mean you don't live. Still take the shot. And this time I'm thinking of like a basketball court, say it's gym. Everyone gets a shot from the 3-point line. The bell was blown, everyone left to the locker room, and you almost were going to leave the ball and walk off because it was time to go. But instead, you took your shot. You saw how far you could get. If you hit the rim, you noted it so that when you try again in the future, you can see your progress and how things were better. But there's this energy of like, you don't need to be witnessed to experience something along the lines. It's like, if a tree falls and no one around to hear it, does it still make a sound? And it's like, yes, no one may have been around you to hear your growth, hear your concerns, hear your cries for help, but that doesn't mean they weren't there. And just because you may have had a more isolated experience, or it's making me think of Outside Looking In by Jordan Pruitt. You could have been surrounded by a bunch of people, a bunch of classmates, but still felt like you weren't included in that. And then it doesn't even have to be school. It's also making me think of like neurodivergent people, and just feeling like this never ending feeling of being left out, right? And it's kind of like you're writing a news story where you're going to have the courage to do what you want to do, to like walk to the beat of your own drum. And if it doesn't look accessible from the outside, if it doesn't look like in every demonstration of life, you can't be perceived as the perfect version, right? um it's like a picture. If someone takes a picture right now in this moment and you were smiling, like, yeah, maybe I look happy, maybe my hair doesn't look that great, but I also experience sadness. I also experience other facets. So it's kind of like someone can look at you. There's something about being perceived, like you want to be perceived as the perfect citizen, or like you're very critical on how you speak, how you act, how you perform. And you're like, I don't want to rub anyone the wrong way. I don't want someone to cancel me. I don't want someone to think I'm the villain. I don't want someone to do this and do that. And you're so focused on the externalizing, like you're so focused on everybody else, but you're writing this news story where you're just simply experiencing this. It doesn't matter if you're good at it. It doesn't matter if you look good while you're doing it. It doesn't matter if it makes other people look cringe or feel a certain way, right? We're taking the shot, we're activating, we're triggering our confidence to go after that thing. And you're allowing yourself to experience this without judgment, because one, maybe you've never done this before. And even if you did do it before, you are a human experiencing life for the first time, and you're not going to get everything right away, because you have to practice, and practice makes better. And that is the goal. And last one. And we have move on. It says someone is unavailable, a waste of time. It's over. Yeah, the people who don't want to get to know you, the people who don't want to give you a chance to experience, to live. You know, maybe it was your parents who realized they didn't have time for you to get the thing right. They just needed it done their way right now in these moments. And maybe you never got a chance to explore your ideas and your beliefs because you just had to follow the train that was already in motion. And you're in a position where you can move on from that. If people are unavailable, if society is unavailable for your essence, for your time, for your attention, then move on, then go somewhere else, then open a new door, right? Because standing in front of someone's face, it's making me think of, like, again, with your parents, like a parent that seems available because they're in the house, but maybe they're working from home, so mentally they're not available. Or you're trying to tell them about they asked you, like, oh, how was your day at school? And you're trying to tell them, but you are waiting. And there's this image of a little kid waiting in front of their mom for undivided attention, which never came, right? Because your mom did ask you about your day, but then they're also trying to cook, trying to pay a bill, trying to write a text, trying to do a bunch of things at once. And I feel as though, again, when someone is available, a waste of time, it's over. It's kind of like I see you waiting in front of them, and time is moving. And things are fast forwarding, and you're still in front of that table waiting for the attention you never got. And it's like, if you wait for undivided attention from people who are unavailable, you're never going to get the outcome you're looking for. You need to give yourself that attention. There's something calling inside for you to move a different way. Don't judge yourself and this experience of what you want to try, but instead allow yourself to do that thing. It's also making me think of course, like nurturing and healing our inner child, but it's making me think of a little boy who's like, oh, mom, my siblings paint their nails. My older sisters paint their nails. I want to paint my nails. Or like they saw a little kid at school who had colored nail polish, and they're like, I want to try that too. And maybe at that time, that age, that social construct you grew up about masculinity, like that could be a whole nother speech, maybe this is something you were never able to experience. And this avenue of life, like painting your nails and being creative, was something unavailable to you when you were a kid, and now is the time, without judgment. Don't paint your nails now and you're like, oh, I'm being effeminate, I'm being a little bitch, this is gay as fuck, like whatever nastiness you might tell yourself. It's kind of like change that mental conversation where it's like, no, I'm not judging myself for what this could be. I'm moving on from the permission. I'm moving on from the hesitation. I'm pushing past the things that kept me stuck, because it's over, because now you're writing a new story. Now you're being a different person. And it's not like you're being a different person, you're being a fake person, you're being a person that's not you. It's kind of like you're allowing yourself to be the person you've always wanted to be, to experience the things you've always wanted to try. And instead of you echoing voices in your head of, that's childish, that's dumb, why would you want to do that, instead you're like, I'm so excited, I finally get to try. Which color do I want to use? There's so many to choose from. Like, nurturing your own existence, because just because other people rejected you doesn't mean that's a path you have to continue down. The energy we're leaving behind, and the energy we're coming into. Do I want this one? Yeah, sure, we could take it. All right. So we have faith. You're letting go of faith. There's, not in a bad way, but more of like what you put your faith in. You kind of are under this impression, or like, this situation has been going on for so long that you're under the impression that if I'm meant to talk, it's making me think of Sword in the Stone, Disney movie from way back when. And Arthur was just a young boy. This was before he realized he was supposed to be king, right? And his uncle and everyone told him, like, you're scrawny, you're not gonna be shit, because what they put on a pedestal was like strength and brawn, right? It wasn't really very much so brains. So the point of the story, I have ADHD, sorry if it like jumps around a lot. In that movie, every time Arthur was close to the sword, which was his destiny to pull it and become king, right? Every time he was close to the sword, a light would shine. Like, there was this angelic haze that came down every time Arthur attempted to touch the sword before he finally had the courage to like pull it out. And I feel like you have like some faith, right? That one day I'll be able to tell my story. One day when I'm in college, I'll be able to, own my space or wear the outfits I want. I have faith that one day it's going to get better, or like one day there's going to be divine intervention for change, right? But that's not how it operates, because this is what needs to be released. Faith isn't this like magic lamp that'll come true one day. You have to do the work. So if you're always sitting on the side, not being called on, not putting yourself out there, not taking up space, that's like that kid that was ignored all of school, and then it's prom night and you have faith that someone is going to walk up to you and say, I've been waiting for you to notice me, noticing you this whole time, will you dance with me? Like, you have faith of this magic miracle, but it's not going to unfold like that. The miracle is in your courage to be the person you've always wanted to be. And then you can have faith that the people who are attracted to your true essence will find you. Because what you're going towards is passion. You're going towards the things that light you up, the things that make you excited, the things that make you want to experience life. And with Ghost, it's making me think, which is Aquarius energy, okay, and Scorpio energy, if you wanted to put it there. It's making me think, Danny Phantom, yo, Danny Phantom, he was just 14. No, because I heard going Ghost. Isolate, dip, disappear, move to a new city, like move on, get away from everybody and everything that is unavailable to you, right? Because if you've been waiting around kind of like a ghost in a haze, where people may see you, but a lot of people overlook you, right? Um, for some people, they say ghosts are the shells of people who have unfinished business here on earth. So it's kind of like you've been a ghost in your own life, but now it's time for you to almost like be a ghost in other people's lives. If other people never appreciated you there, stop showing up. Let them miss your essence. Let them miss your laugh. Let them miss your goofy stories. Maybe in the family you've never been seen as yourself, as an individual, but you're the one that brings all the funniness to the family. You're the one that brings the good conversation. You're the one that kills the awkward silence, you know? But if someone already wants to overlook you, let them see nothing there. Like, you were overlooking me anyway. Let me just clear that spot up for you. Let me just be gone, right? And you're not gone to disappear, to be a ghost of yourself, to be a shell for the rest of life and time, right? You're tapping into the energy where you're finding your passions, where things are so excited and so interesting, you can't not try it. It's making me think of like you go to a store and you see a top and you're like, oh, that's such a cute top. But maybe it was a little out of my budget. I'm gonna just leave it there, right? But you're still thinking about it like that would look so good on me. That fits me so well. It's part of my aesthetic. I'm seeing like a billboard for a food, like a food advertisement, and it looks so good and you're hungry and you're like, oh, I think that would fill me up. I think I would enjoy that, but I don't want to have to travel the distance. You know, it'll be like 30 miles till this restaurant or something like that. So it's like you keep having these hesitations, these reasons why you can't give yourself everything you wanted, why you can't experience your passions, right? And a lot of it is the judgments that's other people placed on you. The voice in your head is not your own. It's your school bully, it's your parents, it's someone that has held you back for so long. But again, you're writing a new story. You're moving on. You're getting out of this energy. And then there was something else I was saying, but I can't think of it right now. But also in The Sword of the Stone, if you haven't seen that movie, Arthur, based on how his parents taught him, how he was raised, you know, his family, community, he thought all life was being strong and was competing to be a knight or something like that. But it wasn't until he met Merlin that Merlin taught him there are other priorities, and there's kind of like a sense of self you owe to yourself before you owe to other people. Um yeah, I don't know if I described that right, but and we're gonna pick from the tea bag. Any final messages? I really didn't expect this mini to be so long, but I'm actually happy. We have feeling tied down and frustrated, of course, because you know there's things you could be doing, things you could be excelling at, that you're not, that you feel stuck in or tied in place or not sure of your next step just yet. We have club. It says someone will try to make you do something against your will, which is pretty much your whole entire life, I would say. People counted you out, so you learned to count yourself out. And it was kind of um against your will, because like if you're a very rambunctious person and someone's like, why are you so hype, why does that get you so excited? That's very childish of you to act that way. You start internalizing those um comments, so eventually you are doing things against your will because you're like, I know what I want to do, but I know how I should act, and we're just going to settle in the middle and brand it as safety, right? But with writing this new story, and it's like you don't have to be safe anymore. Oh, and then I remember what I was going to say now. I was saying that you kind of want to exude this perfectionist reality, or you don't want other people to feel some type way against you. You always want to demonstrate like this perfect version of camaraderie, or like, I can't really describe it. You could be autistic. You know, autistic people say really blunt shit. And people are like, damn. And they're laughing. And you're like, well, I was being honest. You could have also, your mom could have, it doesn't have to be a mom, but you could have saw someone who used words in a really hurtful and negative way. So you're like, "Ah, I don't want to ever be associated with that type of energy or with that perception." And what I want to say to that is, some people like the things you don't like. Some people are raised in ways you were not raised. So things that are important to you could not mean shit to other people. And what I mean by that is, I despise mayonnaise, and there's other people who like that. So if I told someone this is a really good sandwich and they ate it, they might think it was dry as shit. And just because our opinions are differing doesn't mean they're wrong. Like, maybe I'm not someone they go to for food advice, but that doesn't mean I'm a horrible person, you know? So I feel like it's strengths and weaknesses of everybody. Someone might look at you and be like, "Oh, they're loud and they're boisterous and they're overly confident. I don't like that. They must be egotistical. I'm going to stay away from them." And there's someone else that can see those same demonstrations and be like, "Wow, they're so bold and they're so determined in themselves, and I love the way they project their voice to get their point across." Like, you know, just see what you're doing in the best of light. If you're not harming other folks, all right, it's all good. We have woman dealings or relationships with a woman, which goes back honestly to the mother energy that kept popping out for me. You could have woman problems. You could have problems making female friendships because your mom was your first bully. Like, who knows? Who really knows? Um, for some of you with women, and going back to that nail polish energy with the masculines and stuff like that, I feel like part of you wants to write a new story in the sense where you're getting more in touch with your feminine energy. And what I have to say, that, first of all, happy Pride. Second of all, you can be straight and still tap into your feminine energy. Coming from a non-binary person, coming from me, this is me and my opinion, get with it or get gone, all right? Every person is made up of masculine and feminine energy. So if you deny yourself parts of your energy, you are denying parts of yourself. And when, of course, society is selling us this version of men are masculine, women are feminine, so that you feel like you are lacking. And then you go out into society and buy things you don't need, you know? But that's a conversation for another day. And last but not least, we have dark woman dealings or relationships with a woman with dark complexion or hair. All right, this mom being the first bully energy, all right, doesn't tie to one race. You could be white, black, Puerto Rican, Asian, Dominican, Indian, Swahilian, you know. I don't think that's a thing, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's not it's not necessarily a cultural thing. It's like a sexist thing. You know, boys can't wear nail polish, girls can't fix cars. Like, this idea they told you about who you are writing the new story. Also, with someone trying to make you do something against your will, you could have been someone who was forced into femininity, like being a child and having to be in the kitchen while the boys get to watch the game, or having to play with dolls when other people get to be outside playing, riding their bicycle. Like, there's something with a distorted sense of femininity, and that could be within yourself or that could be within the people you've experienced. And this also tells me, remember I said you need community. You need people who didn't see things the way you did so they can help you believe in yourself more or less. So I feel like if you're scared of women, you need to find your community of women. You know, it's like, take the thing you judge and experience that and allow yourself to experience it wholeheartedly. If you judge people who go on stage and sing willy-nilly, if you judge people who put themselves out there, if you judge people who make speeches, who stare at other people in the eyes, like, whatever it is, that's the thing you need to tackle, and that's the thing you need to try, and that's the thing you need to explore. If you are a woman, tap more into your femininity. Nurture your passions, right? And if you're a masculine energy, don't be scared to be feminine. And that doesn't have to be wearing skirts and painting your nails. That could be telling your friend you love them and not hiding your true emotions. Like, there are different things for everybody. But this is what I have for you, Dollface. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, see you later, darling.